Can I just
Sure.
turn to, and then
Sure. I thank you for the question. As an insider, let me. I'm not aware of the news item that what the pharmaceutical industry has growth, export growth having stagnated. In fact, my company, we have big plans to export all over, and we are receiving orders and inquiries. We have we just recently received approval from the European Union health authorities for exports there, and also from the Gulf Council. Australia we received a few years earlier. So, but in any case, the point I was making was not that we went into export the medicine. The private sector was not went for. The example I gave was to show that we have become self-reliant in medicines, where we were entirely dependent on imported medicines. And medicine is a very sophisticated area of production, where high quality standards have to be maintained. And the reason why I gave the example of exports to a country like Singapore, where you have very high standards are maintained. We could not export to a country like Singapore if our quality standards were not very high. That was the purpose of the example I gave, that the private sector in Bangladesh is highly efficient and capable of making very high quality medicines. As regards ship breaking, I was talking about shipbuilding. Shipbuilding is a different industry, and it has its own environmental issues and health issues, because they have, it is labor intensive, it's broken, and the gases are trapped inside, and that leads to explosions and things like that. So that is an area where government is taking action to, that's why the government stopped it, and then I think rules are being brought into place to see that the health and safety of workers involved in shipbreaking is taken care of. Your last question was the challenges that the private sector faces and that the growth takes place. Growth does not take place on its own. Growth takes place because people indulge in activities which lead to income generation and wealth creation. And in my view, the private sector is the people who do that. They are the entrepreneurs. They are the risk takers. They are the ones who do that. It is their job to do that, especially in a free market economy. The challenges that we in the private sector face in Bangladesh is common to the challenges faced by the private sector all over the world. Lack of proper institutions, lack of proper oversight, regulatory oversight. But in this age of information age, and the age of WikiLeaks, and the recent financial crisis in the West, you see that the lack of regulatory oversight is not restricted to the least developing countries. Thank you.
Thank you. The final comment from Mr. Burki.
Very briefly respond to the Nepalese gentleman. I just want to say that your question sort of put me back several years when, as an undergraduate, we were being taught that any expenditure that is being made in development of human resources, the results of which are not available to the home country, is a loss. And that was the so-called brain drain theory. But now the economic science has advanced considerably. And now what the economists are saying is that population should be treated as any commodity. And if you're surplus in it, prepare it for export, like garments or whatever. And so it is no longer something that the public policy makers should be hesitant to do. They should work on populations and train them and export them if surpluses are available. And I think that's the way to go.
Thank you, sir. I think I'm sure there are more questions, but I've been signaled repeatedly that the time is over. Thank you very much, and thank you for the speakers. Very, very scintillating presentations and answers to a lot of questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, panel. May we please invite you to remain on stage for a brief moment as we invite on stage once again Mr. Satpal Khattar to present token of appreciation to our wonderful panel, our distinguished speakers, and our moderator. After that, please join me in thanking Professor T.N. Srinivasan as Mr. Satpal Khattar presents with a lovely token of appreciation, our gratitude way of saying thank you for joining us. Mrs. Shahid Javed Burki, our moderator, Dr. S. Narayan, Mrs. Sohail Rahman, and Dr. Saman Kelegama, please. Can we do a group photo? Yeah. Group photograph. Join me in thanking our panel once again, as you also thank Mr. Satpal Khattar. Thank you, gentlemen.